Hi, I'm Joe Zicki, inventor of the Revolution, and although line management is one of the least exciting aspects of rev flying, it's one of the most important skills to lock down. Here are a few tips to avoid the dreaded tangle frustration. Here's a factory set of Revolution line sets. Comes on a winder and it's locked down with a stretchable shock cord. Take that shock cord off and carefully take the sleeve sections of the lines off. This is a common place for twists to occur, so pay attention. Notice you have two pairs. Each pair is connected together with a lark's head knot. Carefully wind off a few feet of both pairs and separate. These two pairs represent the left and right lines. I use the red pair on the right and the black and white pair on the left. Attaching and detaching lines from your rev and from your handles is a very common place to add twists, so take your time and be precise. I suggest one pair at a time to help avoid tangles. All right, let's attach our line set to our handles. Slide the lark's head off, and we'll attach the top line, which is the white line. The lark's head is made by putting your two fingers through, folding over, and pinching. This forms a loop. That loop goes on to the top leader. If you're in high winds, leave it out toward the end. In lighter winds, bring it in. Do the same lark's head on the bottom. Fold it over, pinch it. Take that loop, put it on your bottom leader. I remember this because black and bottom both start with the letter B. Do the same on the other side. Now let's put a stake in the ground and stake our handles to it. Red on the right, your right handle. Black and white, your left handle on the left. Put the top of the handle at the stake, not the bottom of the handle. Top of the handle at the stake. This will make your rev stable on launch. All right, now let's unwind our lines. Some people like to just flop them off as they go out. I don't like to do that because they'll bind up. I like to stay in control and carefully take them out. If you notice that the lines are off like this, stop, take your time, realign them, getting them coming off evenly again, and then continue. All right, when you get to the end of your lines, carefully take them off, put your winder in your pocket, take the two pairs and spread them apart and stretch them all the way back to the handles. I'm not worried about twist at this time. We'll take care of that in a minute. One of the easiest ways to break a shaft in a rev is to wrestle it in the wind. So follow this method to set your rev up. Sit your rev down on the ground, face up, leading edge into the wind, so your handles are back there. It feels like it's upside down. Your struts are on the back of the wing. So our wing is upside down. This is actually the right wing, and this is actually the top of the bridle. So separate your lines, take your white line, lark's head, and attach it to your top bridle. Then take your bottom line, lark's head again, and attach it to the bottom of the bridle. Do the same on the other side. All right, had a wind shift, so we switched our kite angle around. Now what I want you to do is take your rev, pull it back, and stand it upside down. You see that leading edge is into the ground. Remember how we set our handles out with those handle tips are on the stake? That gives it a forward flight, and this is driving our rev into the ground, so this makes it stable. This is the right way to hold your rev on the ground. It's the most stable way to do it. If you don't have your reverse launch, because we need to reverse launch from here. If you don't have your reverse launch yet, you can flip the rev over. But now remember, it's set up for forward flight, it'll take off. Kick those tail stakes underneath like that, and you're ready to launch. We're gonna flip it over and start with the inverted launch as we clear our lines. Let's go back to the handles. I like to use line tension with the wing pulling back on the lines to undo tangles. Lift it off, and that's why these handles are positioned like this, to keep that rev flying down into the ground. It's a stable position. But as you start moving your handle and twisting your handles, if you rotate them, your rev can launch, which is kind of tricky. So if you're in high winds and you're new at this and you're not used to moving handles around and switching handles and keeping those handles back, I have a foolproof method for you. Here it is. All right, so here's the scenario. You're brand new to rev flying. You just got your rev. First time flying, you go out on the field and the wind is blowing 20 miles an hour. You don't need to be out there with your handles and your rev hooked up trying to untwist the lines. So we're gonna do it this way. We're gonna set up the lines. You've walked them out, you've spread them apart, but before you hook them up to your rev, come back to your handles. Here we go. Back at our handles. Clear your handles and make sure your lines are separate. Put them back on, top on, separate your 4 lines in your hands and walk them back to the kite. Any twist that you run into, you can fix then. All right, our lines are cleared, tangle free, we're ready to launch. For more information on the basic flying, go to our basics video here. All right, we're done flying for the day. Land your rev, nose down, separate your handles, flip them over, clear your handles, lay your rev down. Remove your lines at the kite, one pair at a time, and larks head them together. The goal here is to have 2 pairs, not 4 lines. Stake your 2 pairs into your winder so they're coming out. What I like to do is I like to keep those 2 pairs separated. I put my pinky right in between those 2 pairs, and then I reach over and grab the set. Now they're going in together, but they're separated by my pinky as I wind them in. So there's no way to get a twist while I wind these in. Come across, I like the figure 8, down, up, down, up, down, up. You see they're being separated all the way to the line set. Here we go. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Apply some tension, but not too much tension. You don't want them flopping around on here loosely like this, but you don't want to be dragging them down through the set either. As I'm coming into the end, I don't like to drag the handles because they will wander in and out and twist themselves up. The other thing I don't like to do is I don't like to lift the handles up off the ground because they can spin around inside themselves and twist. So I move down toward the handles as I finish the wrap. Then for the last few inches or so, I've got my split. So I separate those 2 and I run them through the cleat once, maybe even twice. And this guarantees that there are no twists to this point. Now there might be twists after this, and we'll have to clear those, but next time you open up your line sets, you clear them down to that point, and they're completely clear. And then when you take them off the winder, they're completely set. All right, a lot of pilots don't take their handles off because it's just extra time in and out. So what you do here is just wrap them on carefully, lay them down as smoothly as you can onto your winder. Grab that shock cord, wrap it around the handles, and lock it into the cleat. And then your packed line set and you're ready to go next time. All right, what if you do have a tangle? I mean, kind of a serious tangle. Don't panic. Don't grab that line and pull and tug and hope you're going to get it out. The Spectre is very fine and slippery. It'll just pull into a tight little knot and you'll never get it out. So what I want you to do is, a method that works really well for me is you take one of the lines and weave it out through it. So now you're down to 3 lines in the tangle. If you still have an issue, take another one out. That usually gets to the point where you only have a couple twists going on with 2 lines. That's a great way to do it. Here's the real key to line management. Have a system and practice that system. After you do it a few times carefully and slowly, you'll get a feel for it and it'll become natural to you. That's why the pros look so easy when they're putting their lines in and out, because they've done it 1,000 times. If you got any questions, leave them in the comments below and we'll see you on the field.